Hi everyone, it's Charlie again. I just wanted to shoot a quick video. I've probably missed the boat on this a little bit, but I wanted to just address the fear and anxiety, and as some people are describing, grief surrounding the current situation we're in. That could be, very obvious, like the fear of catching a virus, or the fear of what's going to happen to me financially, or your family members, or whether you're going to have a job on the other side of this, or what are you going to do through this period where we're stuck at home. And I just really wanted to talk about my understanding of the antidote to fear. And the best antidote I know is gratitude. And what I mean by that is fear. There's a great saying that I love: fear knocked on the door, faith answered it, and no one was there. And what I mean by that is fear is very much based on the what ifs. What if this happens? What if that happens? What if it's all in the future or past, and it's not in the present now? Whereas gratitude is very much rooted in the here and now, a positive look on where you are at this moment. And I think that's really important, and it's important to have something at this time that grounds us to something positive, and gratitude is the best way I know of doing that. So a couple of tips that you can do to help you with gratitude. Kind of my best ones I can think of are: in the morning, write down, so actually think about it and write it down, the 5 things that you're grateful for at the moment. And then in the evening, write down your 5 kind of biggest achievements or wins from the day, no matter how big or small. Obviously, it's going to be pretty challenging when we're stuck at home, especially if you're in a flat without a garden, for example, and you're only allowed that hour outside. So it's going to take some creativity, but actually spending that time and thinking about what you're grateful for throughout that day is important. So, a couple of things off the top of my head that I can be grateful for are, this amazing weather we've got at the moment. It's incredible. It's, only a couple of weeks ago it rained pretty much non-stop for weeks on end. What else am I grateful for? This time I've got young kids and a family, so having that time to spend with them is hugely important for me. As a kid, we used to sit down and have dinner together as a family every single day, and I love that, and that was a real important part of my childhood and a real bonding experience with my family and my parents. And now, normally I finish work at 7:30, 8 o'clock, and the kids are going down to bed, and then me and my wife will eat later. So actually that opportunity to eat together, I'm massively grateful for. It's a great opportunity to do things like gardening. Like, for example, I'll show you in a second, I've got some seedlings growing, and actually watching them every single day, kind of weird, but actually it kind of fills me with great joy, like seeing them develop, and it's really cool. I would normally buy things as a kind of a bit more of an established plant and stick it in the ground, but actually to put a seed in the ground and watch it kind of come out is very cool. And I've got the time to water them every day and look after them and nurture them and do all the right things. But those are my 2 big tips. So kind of what you're grateful for in the morning, and in the evening, what are your big wins from the day. Other obvious things are, limiting the time you're spending on social media, like watching videos like me. Hopefully this is a positive example of social media. But obviously the news as well. You can check your government updates each day just to see what's going on. It's important to stay abreast of the current situation, but it's also at the same time very important that it doesn't consume you, that you don't spend your whole day looking at it and kind of, that's again really feeding into that fear rather than that gratitude for where you are at the moment. So the big difference between the 2 is accepting what you can't control. Kind of accepting what you can't control and taking ownership of what you can control. So, those things, we are all in this together, we're all in the same position, and, there's nothing really you or I can do about that. We're not, the people who are making those decisions, thankfully. In my case, I would hate to be making these big decisions for the whole country. So we just got to accept that, and it is what it is, and follow the rules and do what we're told. But there are things that we can control, and that's what we focus on and what we think about and what we choose to do with our time. And also how we'll look back at this, in a couple of months' time. How will we look back at these weeks or maybe even months of time where really we don't have many commitments at all? A lot of people don't have to work. Obviously I appreciate a lot of people watching this are still working, but we do have an abundance of time for most people, and hopefully you'll look back at it as a real positive time where you worked on either yourself, your business, your family, your connections with others, and really get a sense of gratitude from that. And there'll definitely obviously be a huge sense of gratitude on the other side of this one. You get to hug your first stranger, and go to the pub and have a pint with a friend, and and actually spend time with your family and friends, in person, as opposed to on a Zoom or house party call. But the other thing that jumped to my mind the other day, I was reading a blog, and it was from the Bible, Proverbs 4:23, and it says, "Above all else, guard your heart." What does it say? "Above all else, guard your heart, for everything else flows from it." And again, I just thought that was really apt with everything that's going on at the moment, with the situation that we're in, and that not focusing on the fear, guarding your heart and your thoughts and what you're focusing on, because everything else does flow from that, and that's what I mean. Anyway, I'm trying to talk and walk across all the rubbish that's in the back of my garden. Anyway, I want to show you, I'm in my greenhouse now. It's completely bare apart from a couple of seedlings, but here you are. Here's my seedlings. So hopefully you can see that there. So yeah, they've been slowly popping up nicely. We've got some runner beans here. These cosmos are doing really well. Got our first mini cucumber starting to poke through there, so the kids will enjoy picking those off before they're ripe. Sweet peas, again another runner bean. Got a few different things. Bought some beetroot earlier, or the other day. So going to put some seeds out there in the shop when we're shopping. So, and then got some tomato plants and courgettes here. So we got all those just before the lockdown. So yeah, very grateful for that. So use this time wisely. Focus on what you're grateful for. What you're grateful for in the mornings, what your achievements are throughout the day, and what you're grateful for the day that you've just had. We are living a very simplistic life, so they're not going to be the big things, but we can still achieve a lot, and that could be reading a book, or a special moment, or connecting with a friend or the family member that you haven't spoke to in a long time, just not had the time to, and actually get on the phone and speak to people. We are in a modern age where we are very connected, even if we're not physically connected right now. We can speak to people all around the world easier now than we ever have been able to, and actually see them and use that time wisely, and set some goals, but also limit what you're putting into your mind. And just remember, like it said in Proverbs, it's like what you put into your heart is what comes out. So just really guard what you're allowing to infiltrate your mind, your heart and your body, and just make sure that you're keeping it a healthy and positive place, so that you'll feel strong throughout this rather than letting it drag you down. Anyway, going on a little bit too long. I hope that was helpful, and I look forward to catching base with you soon. Cheers, have a good evening, bye.